What's going on, guys? It's Tom. I'm back with another video. Merry Christmas to everyone in the U.S. It's Christmas Day today. It's actually the day after Christmas here in the Philippines. And yeah, so hope you guys have a Merry Christmas or are having a Merry Christmas and a great New Year coming up in about a week or so. Um, it's funny here. I don't know. Sometimes maybe it's me, but it seems almost anticlimactic. Like Christmas here. It's kind of like the build up is much better than the actual holiday. It seems almost. You know what I mean? Because here they start celebrating and decorating and all that at the malls and playing the music and all that like in September. Like September 1st, right? Whereas, like in the US, it's basically like after Thanksgiving, right? Or a little bit sometimes after Halloween, right? You'll start seeing maybe commercials, after Halloween in the US, right? But I mean, for the most part, after Thanksgiving, man, like the day after Thanksgiving, that's like boom, Christmas, shopping and all that stuff, right? But here it's a lot more sort of family oriented. It's not so much about like buying things and presents and all that. It's just more about being together as a family and maybe having a good meal and all that, holiday meals and stuff like that. And actually, over here in the Philippines, New Year's is kind of a bigger thing. New Year's Eve with you have just a bunch of different foods and all that people either cook or sometimes if they can, they'll order out, they'll order delivery of these big bundled, food packages, right? For like whatever, anywhere from 1,000 peso to like 2,000 peso, right? On average, you can order these big bundles where there's like 8 different foods, maybe a plate, like a regular kind of a smaller plate of each food, and usually the main dish will be pretty good, like chicken or something like that, fried chicken. There might be several pieces of that, and then the rest of it's just kind of like almost like appetizers or whatever. But anyway, but yeah, here it's kind of a big thing, like New Year's, and the fireworks last year were incredible here. I mean, on New Year's Eve, where I'm at. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about though in this video, I wanted to talk about like kind of like Food Panda, which is like a food delivery service in the Philippines, versus like Grab, right? Now, Grab is kind of like the Uber of the Philippines and of Asia, right? Whereas, Food Panda is more centered on just they don't do ride sharing, Food Panda. They just do food I'm sorry, food delivery, like from restaurants, like you order food from restaurants and they'll deliver it to your home. Excuse me. And they'll also do like grocery delivery, right? Food Panda, but they don't do any, like ride sharing and stuff like that, right? Whereas Grab does all that stuff, just like Uber does, like Uber Eats, and then they do ride share and stuff like that, and Lyft in the U.S. You know, well here, like I said, it's you know we use Grab for ride sharing, and stuff like that a lot of times. Although you will find that the Grab ride is going to be a little bit more expensive than a taxi in the Philippines, right? And I don't care if you're like in Manila or wherever you're at in the Philippines. Grab is always going to be a little bit more because, of course, the rider is getting some, and then he has to give like 35% or whatever it is. It's either somewhere between 25 and 40% of what he makes to the company to Grab, right? Just like Uber's similar, right, in the U.S. So of course you're gonna a lot of times your tab is gonna be about 25% higher, you know what I mean, than a taxi, right? If you take a Grab somewhere. Of course, it's gonna be more comfortable, probably, right? It's gonna be a nicer vehicle. The aircon's gonna work probably like 99% that it's gonna work, as opposed to a taxi, which sometimes they either doesn't work or they don't want to use it because it eats up gasoline. Your mileage goes down, when you're using aircon, okay? You go from like, 20 miles to the gallon to like 15, when you're using aircon or whatever, for example, here in the Philippines. But now we use, like I said, Grab for rideshare most of the time. Sometimes we do taxis. And then, of course, for food delivery, though, we usually do Food Panda because, you know, they order a lot. They offer a lot of vouchers and stuff like that. 100 pesos off, 200 pesos off, 500 pesos off. Stuff like that for minimum orders of like over 1,000 or whatever. And the thing I like about Food Panda is that they'll take COD cash even if the order is over 1,000 pesos. Whereas Grab, if it's over, well, it used to be if it's over 1,000 pesos, you had to use a credit card or a Grab wallet or something like that. They wouldn't take COD or cash. Now I noticed that we were gonna use it yesterday, and then I noticed it said 500 pesos. It said like if it's over 500 pesos, you got to use a card. So like now this is something that I was a little perturbed about yesterday, because we were thinking, well, I know it's Christmas Day here, but the malls are open and restaurants are open. So I thought, hey, maybe we'll just order, like Food Panda, like a delivery or whatever, right? So Food Panda, they tell you right up front, like on the restaurants, it'll say temporarily unavailable, you know, because they probably couldn't, there was no drivers that wanted to work or whatever, or could work or whatever on Christmas Day. Okay. But Grab, they don't tell you that, they're all open. Like you can click onto the restaurant, you can order the food, you can, all that stuff. Right. But then what happened yesterday was that I did all that. And then of course I had to attach a card to the account, you know, because it was going to be well over 500 or even a little bit over 1,000. So either way, I needed a card. So I go through all that process and I ordered with Grab, and then they tell me after they charge me on my card, first they do a test charge, like it's a small amount, like 90 cents or whatever, and then they give it back to you. But then the actual charge for the order comes up, and but then after that, they cancel the order. They say, "Oh, I'm sorry, there's no drivers available in your area," right? After it's already been charged, now, and then they say it takes like 2 weeks to get the refund. It could take up to 2 weeks to get the money back. And they sent me an email and they say they're not going to charge you. Like you won't be charged. I'm like, well, it was already charged, so they're going to have to refund me. So that kind of pissed me off. I was like, why don't you just tell me up front that there was no drivers available? Why would you do that? And that sometimes happens here in the Philippines. People sometimes you won't. It's like they don't want to. I don't know. They're not doing it on purpose, but it's almost like there's a. It's kind of like they're stringing you along. You know what I mean? Like, and then all of a sudden, oh, sorry, sir. You know what I mean? Like that's supposed to let you down easier. The fact that they delayed everything and then you thought that things were going to go okay and then they weren't. Like that's somehow going to be better than if they just told you up front, sorry, it's not available or whatever. I don't know. Sometimes it happens here, I guess it happens everywhere, but you'll definitely notice it here if you're living here long enough. But overall, I mean, I've had decent experiences with stuff, you know what I mean, with transportation or whatever. Even I've dealt with hospitals and all that, and I really haven't had too bad experiences or too bad of a experience here. But there's a few things like that kind of perturb me, right? So anyway, so then, well, what I wanted to talk about here was that now Food Panda is owned by a German company, right? Delivery Hero or something like that is the name of the parent company in Germany. Well, they're divesting, apparently, of Food Panda in Asia, including the Philippines, and all these several countries, right, in Asia. So it's unclear what their future will be in the Philippines or anywhere else in Asia. I'm talking about Food Panda, their future. they're probably going to get sold to either Grab, or like there's only one other company I think that's got the money to buy them, you know, or they're just going to go under, like you know what I mean? I actually don't know what the benefit would be for like a Grab or something to buy them when they could just probably wait until they just go under. You know what I mean? They're gonna come a point where they're just gonna very soon where they're just gonna be done. Like no more money. We have no more money. They've already taken most of their money out. The company. So it's kind of like I don't really see who would want to buy them. Why would you want to like possibly take on debt or whatever of another company when you can just let them go under? And then you're just going to be the only one left. Like there won't be much competition, with food delivery here. You know what I mean? I think there's in other parts of like Makati and that there's like Uber Eats or something I heard, but I don't know for sure, but there's not much competition. I mean, those were the two big ones here. Is Food Panda was like 60% of the business, and then Grab as far as food delivery goes, right? So we don't know what's going on, but that's probably gonna they're probably not gonna be long for this world here in the Philippines, Food Panda. So it doesn't surprise me either because I've noticed in the last 6 months or so that it just seemed like the service was a little slippery and it was kind of slipping, you know what I mean? And I don't know, it just seemed like it doesn't surprise me that I was always telling the girls, hey, I got a feeling these guys are gonna get bought out by Grab or something, or something's going to happen. So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But anyway, I just thought I would bring that up because these are services that, you might use here, especially if you're living here, if you're coming here to live. But even if you're visiting for like a month or so, I mean, you very well likely you might order food, you know what I mean? Like, uh, even if you're in an Airbnb or something, right, for a month or. So I just thought you might want to know, like, don't be surprised if, like, in a couple months, it's just going to be Grab doing, like, everything. And the thing I notice about Grab is they do have, like, points and stuff that you build up, and I guess you can get discounts for using your points in the future. But they don't really have the same kind of vouchers, man. They don't have, like, these huge, like, 20% off and, or even 10% off or whatever, 200 pesos off. I didn't notice that they don't have that with the food, you know what I mean? Delivery. So it's kind of like, I would miss Food Panda, in that regard because you can get some really good deals through them, with the food delivery and stuff. So anyway, guys, that's about it. If you got any comments or anything, I'd appreciate it. If you've had experiences with any of these companies, let me know. If you had anything interesting happen, like double ordering on Food Panda, for example. That's something I've noticed in the last couple months. And I could talk about that maybe in another video. But anyway, yeah, where they cancel one, they act like you ordered twice and then they cancel one order. And then, I kind of know what's going on with that. But like I said, maybe I'll talk about that in another video if they do wind up going under. So. All right, guys, that's it. I'll talk to you later. Have a great rest of your holiday season. Please like, and I appreciate if you comment and subscribe if you're not already doing so. All right, thanks, guys. I'll see you later.